Welcome to Michael Rosmer and John Sue's video Battlethon, inspired by Gary Vaynerchuk. I've been watching a lot of social media stuff, and a lot of people are always promoting know thyself, know thyself. The more you know yourself, the more successful you'll be. And really, it goes down to knowing yourself, so how would you say, you are determined and driven to do what you envision, right? So it's kind of like a power statement. The more you know yourself, the more powerful you are. And what I wanted to do today in today's video is to add a twist to that, where it's know thyself, but also know that your life outside, your external life, things happening to you, your friends, are also a reflection of yourself. But more directly or more accurately, it is a reflection of yourself that you are consciously unaware of. So you're probably wondering to me, what the hell do I mean by consciously unaware of? So something you're consciously unaware of is, for example, there's some guys out there who you would say they are naturally aggressive, but in their own mind, they're not aggressive. They think that's just how I am. But to others, they're really aggressive, but they just don't know it. So then you have, those people would typically have a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're mean," or "You're insensitive." They would, they would feel threatened or bullied by this person, and that's the feedback of what the person is consciously not knowing. Is when somebody points the finger at you and says you're mean, it's basically a reflection. It's a message sending to you is you don't know that you're mean. That's why they are telling you, right? And it's a totally weird thing, but until I consciously saw many examples of that, of people being emotional to myself, a good example in my life that took a few years to admit, really, is for a long time I would hear people, my friends, women I've dated, they would all say I'm self-centered and everything revolves around me, and that I make that if it's not about me, I'm not going to remember it, right? And I would always deny that. I say, as if, how is that so? I would always deny it, and I would always have how would we say, a mental explanation of how I'm not selfish, arrogant, or self-centered. And the crazy thing is it finally dawned on me that I am selfish, self-centered, and arrogant. Why? Because you ever been in the situation where if you think everybody else is the asshole, that actually means is you're the asshole, but you just don't know it. So that's the example. Is there came a point in my life where I was thinking, man, is everybody a sensitive bitch? Like, why are they so easily offended? I'm just being truthful and being myself and just saying things, expressing my truth, and they're just being like little sensitive bitches. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't mean to say it in a derogatory female way, but I'm just saying in a very sensitive, emotional, reactionary way. I just thought everyone's so sensitive. What's going on? And that was the light bulb that went off in my head. Is when you think everybody else is the jerk, you're actually the jerk, and you didn't know it, and you don't know it. So that was a real awakening to myself. That when everyone was saying how arrogant I was, it never clued in. So that's another tip on really know thyself, exploring who you are inside. But the twist here is it's very difficult to see within your own mind. And there's a theory out there in the spiritual development world called the mirror theory, such that your external life is a reflection of your internal mind. So whatever people, if people are if you're looking, if people are saying, "Oh my God, you're so nice," or praising you, a lot of people are praising you and giving you compliments and stuff like that. Often, if you feel like not like you don't accept it, they're just trying to show you something about yourself that you don't believe, whether it be positive or negative. Or if everyone's calling you a selfish jerk, and you're like, no, I'm not a selfish jerk, they're sending you a message saying, here's something you don't know about yourself. And the whole point is not to feel bad or to feel good, but emotions are incomplete messages of what you don't know. So, good example is if you're getting positive feedback from somebody complimenting you, they are the half message of the negative thoughts that you have about yourself. That's why you don't accept those compliments. Or if somebody's giving you negative comments, it's about a self ego trip positive belief that you have that you're not aware of, right? So it's always what however they're reacting is just showing you the other half of what you don't know. So if they're reacting negatively, it's just showing you that you have a positive belief about whatever you guys were arguing about. Or if they're reacting um, negatively, means you're having a positive response about that. So that's the interesting twist, is really watch how emotional others are being towards you, and and how emotional you are to stuff outside of your world. And it's one of those things where it will drastically change your life, because often the biggest changes in our life happens when we uncover what we don't know that we don't know. And that's like the serious deep subconscious stuff, big driving beliefs about things that really drive our behaviors and guide our lives in a really big way. Because right, like conscious mind stuff is the very obvious and surface stuff. The really deep crazy stuff that drives you, kind of like the momentum of the ocean, it's your subconscious thoughts that you're unaware of. So yeah, that's my twist on know thyself, and incorporating the mirror theory of knowing that thy internal self by watching the external life of how others are reacting to you. Awesome. Thanks so much. And hopefully you test my stuff out. Like, don't believe. One thing I always want is don't believe what I say. Check it out. Do it. What's going to happen, right? It'd be an easy field test. And see if what I'm talking about is legit or it's bullshit. I've seen it happen enough times, and I've seen it in others well enough to see. And this whole idea of, emotions and the other half of stuff, why there's if I'm positive and they're negative, or if they're negative I'm positive, it's based on the idea of the dualities of the pairs always, good and bad always show up in pairs, right and wrong always shows up in pairs, big and small always shows up in pairs. It's a freaky thing, but once you realize and see how much that happens, it'll blow your mind.